So in this particular video, we're going to look at questions that really give students a challenge from 2024 all the way to 2020. And we're going to call this series questions that made students cry in the exam from June 2024 all the way to 2020. So you can see here this guy was really crying after seeing some of the questions that were in this paper of June 2024. One of the questions that we're going to look at is this question whereby they were told to work out the lower bound of R. And in this case, what the student forgot to understand is that for you to work out the lower bound of R, you are supposed to find the lower bound of P divided by the upper bound of Q. So for you to find the lower bound of this is going to be, this is in three significant figures. So if it's in three significant figures, it means in order to find the lower bound of this, the lower bound of this is going to be 5.875 times 10 raised to power 8. And the upper bound of Q is going to be 3.65 times 10 raised to power 5. So for us to work out our area correct to the nearest integer, for us to find the value of R to the nearest integer, now it became 1610. So this is one of the questions that really made the students of GCSE Edexcel paper 3H to cry in that exam. So do you think this question could make you cry? Do you think this question could make you cry in that particular exam? Do you think this question could make you cry? Because most of the students really found these particular questions hard in that particular exam, especially finding the upper bound of this. They forgot that to find the upper bound, the lower bound of R, they were supposed to find the lower bound of P divided by the upper bound of Q. And that is exactly what they were supposed to do in order to get this mark that we have here. So do you think this question also could make you cry? And if it could make you cry, you better master it, because this is just a preparation of how you can be able to answer different questions in the coming paper 3H exam. Another question that made most students to cry in the exam is this question whereby they were told that these are the three consecutive terms of an arithmetic sequence, and they were supposed to find the value of x. So you need to understand that if you take this term minus this will give you a common difference, and this term minus this will also give you a common difference. So the student were to work out the common difference using this term and this term, and that is going to give us 6. And also they were to use this term here and this term here by saying 3x plus 1 minus x plus 2, and also that will represent the common difference. So since this is just the common difference, they were to equate those two terms so that those two parts common difference, and the value of x in that case is going to be 3.5, and that will could have enabled them to get the 2 mark. So the first part is to equate the two common difference, so that we could say M1, and the examiner could mark this and say answer 1. Another part was for geometric sequence, and for you to work out the common ratio, you take the term in front divided by the term behind, and also that should be equals to 3y plus 1 over y plus 2, and that was the point where the student was awarded 1 mark. the first mark for the method mark, because the question was having 5 marks. And then to simplify that, another method mark was awarded. And then if there was a correct quadratic, another mark was awarded there. Using solving this quadratic, another M mark was awarded, solving the quadratic. And then finally getting the answers for that, we have another mark for accuracy mark and also for accuracy mark. So I think I've gotten accuracy mark here. Yeah, so this mark could not be awarded at this point. Yeah, so that's what the student was supposed to do. So I need you to ask yourself a question. Suppose you are doing this exam, will you be able to cry in that exam for using this question? We have question number 21. The diagram shows a circle of radius r and 2 regular hexagons, and then we are supposed to show that pi is greater than 3, less than 2 root 3. So in this case, what this student was supposed to do is to draw a straight line passing through this, subdividing. So we are going to find that this line passing this way, and also having this way, we are going to have 360 divided by 6. So because we have 6 sections of angles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 360 divided by 6. So each angle was supposed to be 60 degrees. So if this 60 degrees, and this is an equilateral triangle, so this part, and this part will be equal. So it will mean that every angle here is 60 for this triangle UTO. Then we could be able to say that the side of the inner hexagon was also r. Then the perimeter of that hexagon was supposed to be 6 times r, because there are 6 sides. And then since the radius of the circle was r, it will also mean that we are going to say c is equals to 2 pi r. That is the circumference of the circle. So we have the perimeter of the hexagon, inner hexagon, smaller hexagon, and also we have the circumference of the circle, which is the perimeter of this circle. So we need also to find the side of the outer hexagon. So if we drop a line here, because this line FE is a tangent to the circle, also from this point to this point is the radius. So if we want to find a section, we'll have a right angle triangle here to consider, but this angle is going to be 30 degrees. So we shall say r, and this is going to be 30 degrees. So we can use opposite and opposite and adjacent. So we shall use tan theta is equals to opposite over adjacent, which is r. So this becomes Fm is equals to r tan 30. But tan 30 is root 3 over 3. And then that will mean that EF is now EF from this other end, because that was MF or FM. So EF is going to be 2 times FM. So that's going to be this. And that will be one side of the hexagon there. Then times 6, we're going to get the perimeter of that being 4 root 3r. Then the circumference of the circle will be greater than the inner hexagon, but less than the perimeter of the outer hexagon. So that's the relationship we were to use at this given point in order to remain with this, because if you divide 2 pi, 2r, we are going to remain with r, which you are going to remain with pi greater than 3, less than 2 over 3. So that's those are the questions that were a bit tricky in the year 2024 June. Now let's look at also question in October November 2024 paper 3H that made most of the students to lament and cry in the exam room. So we're gonna look at this question here, whereby we are told that OBCD is a rectangle, DCE is a straight line. DCE is a straight line at that given point. Yeah. So which will mean that in order to work out this, we need to find the gradient of OB. The gradient of OB is going to be 4 minus 4. The gradient of OB minus 4 minus 0. 2 minus, that's going to be and 2 minus 0, so the gradient is going to be negative 2. So the equation of DE, because this line and these lines are parallel, yeah, so it will mean that the gradient will be the same. So the gradient of this line here will be negative 2 as well. So we can be able to use this point in order to know the equation of DE, and that is going to be, equation is y equals to mx plus c. So we can be able to substitute the coordinates that we have here. Negative 6.5, the y coordinate, which is here, should be equal to the gradient times the x coordinate plus c, and we work out the value of c, and the value of c is going to be 17.5. Then we can be able to substitute that into the equation of a straight line, and we shall have this as the equation of line DE. Yeah, then we need to find the equation of line OD, but we need to remember that m1 times m2 is equal to negative 2, negative 1, so that we can be able to find the gradient of this other line here, because this line and this other line, they are perpendicular. So we are going to say m1 times m2 is equal to negative 1, so this is going to translate to a half. So the equation of line OD is going to be a half x. Then we shall now solve the two equations simultaneously, and this equation and this is going to be our equation 2, and this is going to be our equation 1. So if we solve them simultaneously, we are going to get the value of their coordinates, and the coordinates now becomes 7, 3.5. We have question number 17 also made most of the students cry. They were supposed to find the area of this triangle. For the first thing they were supposed to do is to use cosine rule in order to find this angle, and in this case we are going to say please guys like the live, and also you can comment in the section in order to, so that I can be able to see that you are benefiting from the same. Yeah, so another part of the question that was quite interesting is using cosine rule in order to find this angle, whereby we're going to say cosine rule is going to be 18.2 squared is equals to 14.6 squared plus 7.9 squared minus 2 times 14.6 times 7.9 cos theta. So which will mean that for us to find the cosine of that, we shall have theta is equals to 104. Then now we'll apply the formula area is equals to a half AB sine theta in order to get the answer there, so that we shall get our answer as 56.0 centimeter square as the area to that particular triangle that we are having at that point. Yeah, so let me get to know if there's any question up to that particular point. Guys, if you are new to Proflan YouTube channel, consider subscribing so that anytime I'm going to upload another tutorial, you'll be notified. Also, you can be able to join our Patreon page, whereby you can be able to download the PDF that I'm having here on screen, so that you can be able to work out those questions also. Right, so moving to the next question that made student cry here is we are told that on question 18 of November 2024, Maria wants to find an estimate of the number of frogs in a lake. On Saturday, she catches 40 of the frogs. She puts tags on each frog and releases them. And then on Monday, she catches 55. 11 of the frogs have tags. So remember, the number of frogs that were caught on Monday was 55. Out of that were what? 11 were having tags. So we can say 11 over 55 is equals to, on Saturday, the number of frogs that were caught was 40 out of the total number of frogs that were in the lake that particular time. Then for that, in order to work out the value of n, we are going to make n subject, and that's going to be n is equals to 40 times 55 divided by 11, and that is going to give us 11 frogs. But which assumption have we taken in order to answer this particular question? We are going to say the assumption is the tagged frogs mixed with the rest of the population evenly between Saturday and Monday. And also we can assume that there were no how can I put it? There were no deaths or no immigration occurred during those 2 days. So that's why those are the assumptions we are going to assume, that they mixed evenly, and also there were no immigration or immigration there was no death that occurred during that particular period. Let me check in the live. Kraken Gaming, hello, how are you? I'm good. Kraken, thank you for your message. I'm fine. I'm just going through very tough questions that made most of the students cry in the exam room from the year 2024 all the way to 2022. I believe you are doing well and you are ready for the paper, Kraken. And where are you watching from, Kraken? All right, so as we need to move to the next question, also we are going to look at a question that made students to look like this, to show this face in the exam room in this particular year. Look at that face, the face that displayed dismay and discomfort. This student was not happy with that kind of question that was tested there. So let's look at what questions were making students to behave that way. This question number 15, question number 18, question number 20, before we move to another year. So guys, if you have benefited, you have liked this video, consider subscribing so that when I'll be doing another live, that is tomorrow, you'll be notified. I'm glad you guys, you were able to join us. You were able to follow through what we have done here. Consider liking the live, guys. Please like the live, and if you have not subscribed, consider subscribing, guys. All right, I'm just reading the comments, chats in the comment section. If there's any question, let me get to know if there's any question. If there's any question. If there's any question, let me get to know in the chat section. If we work out this using our calculator, we are going to get the value of x reducing to, of course, this is going to be 4 plus or minus 16 plus 60 over 10. And this becomes x is equals to, if we put this in a calculator, we can be able to put this in a calculator so that we can be able to get our x being equivalent to 1.27, or x is equivalent to negative 0.472. so that is what you will get if you will work out that, and we shall have two answers for the value of x in that case. So if you have joined, just leave a comment if the presentation is clear on the other end. Can see one person who has joined us, so we can be able to continue with this. So if you work it out, we need to transfer that negative 0.472, and then so that we can be able to move to the next part. So if you are supposed to answer a question to do with trigonometry, that is sketching of tan graphs, you need to understand that we have asymptotes at 90 and 270, and the asymptote should be dotted like that. The asymptote should be dotted so that we can be able to draw our graph like that. Our graph will go that way, and this other section now it will be coming down to 360 like that. So that is how a tan graph looks like, but you have to remember that the asymptote are lines where the graph will never touch, and in this case the asymptote here is going to be at 90 and 270. Yeah, so basically that's what we're going to do in answering question like that. Question to do with composite functions. We are told that f of x is equals to 2x plus 3 raised to power 2, and g of x is equals to 2x minus 1. Now with that composite function like that, we are supposed to find gf of negative 3. So the first thing that we're going to do in this case is to try as much find f of negative 3. We are going to find f of negative 3 first, and we know that f of x is 2x plus 3 squared, so we're going to say 2 times 3 then plus 3 raised to power 2, and if we work it out by putting it in the calculator, we're going to get the answer equivalent to 9. Then now in order to find gf of negative 3, it will mean that we are going to find g of what? 9, because already we have found that f of negative 3 is 9. Then now we are going to substitute that into the function of g, and that is going to be 2 times 9 minus 1, and that's going to be 17, so that we can be able to transfer it down here. And in order to find the inverse of the function, first you change the g function to y, and then you switch x and y, meaning that where you have x you substitute it with y, and where you have y you replace it with x. And then once we do that, we are going to make y the subject of the formula. Rearranging this, we are going to have our equation resulting to y is equals to x plus 1 over 2 as the inverse function of g function. So working it out, we can be able to substitute and replace our answers here so that we can be able to move to the next part. All right, so moving to the next question. Here it's a question to do with probability, and in this case we are expected to find the number of yellow counters in a bag. So the first thing that we ought to remember at this point is that this question here requires to remember that a function, to remember that probability add up to 1. Total probability should add up to 1. So which will mean that for us to work out this, we are going to equate everything that we shall add there to 1. But we shall first let yellow here, yellow to be x. So if we let yellow to be x, then this red, because we are told the red is 5 times the probability that the counter will be yellow, so which will mean that this is going to be 5x here. Then if we're going to add all the probability that are in that particular table, we are going to have that equals to 1. So we'll expected to make x the subject of the formula so that we can be able to find what the value of x is, and we shall get x is equals to 0.48. And having that x is equals to 0.48, you ought to remember that the total probability that we are working is for yellow, and the probability for yellow is 0.48, and there are 300 counters. So in order to find the number of yellow counters, we are going to say okay, this yellow is going to be 0.08. Divide, of course there was 6 there, and then once we have done that, we are going now to say the probability for yellow is 0.08. Yeah, for those guys who are joining us, please welcome to our live. This is a prediction. This is a prediction. Yeah, that's great. That is Akshati, welcome. Akshati, are you doing GCSE paper 3? Are you going to do this paper? This is actually a prediction. Akshati, welcome. Great, welcome. From which country are you watching from? Actually, from which country are you watching from? UK, welcome. I'm making this video from Kenya. Mr. Nick, behind Proflan YouTube channel. Welcome. I believe this is gonna help you. I'm glad you guys you are joining. Please feel free to like the live, and also please comment if clear. If there's any question that you have, feel free to ask. This is a prediction of GCSE Maths Paper 3H. I know Paper 2H, Paper 1H, from those students who have joined this YouTube channel, they gave me a response. They said it went on well. I believe also that paper 3 will go well as well. I wish you all the best, or I wish all of you all the best. All right, great. Is biology coming tomorrow? I've not checked the timetable for other subjects, but if you are having exam that is coming up, guys, you continue revising. But I deemed it fine to prepare for you this prediction so that we can be able to prepare for paper 3H. Guys, please, if you are new to Proflan YouTube channel, consider subscribing and also like the live so that it can also help the channel to grow. So I'm working on this question of probability here. We have gotten the probability for yellow, and in this case now we need to know the number of counters for yellow. So which means that we are going to take the 300 times 300 value that we have there times 0.08, and if we work it out, we are going to get our answer equivalent to 24 yellow counters. So that will mean that we have 24 yellow counters in that case. Yeah, so that is the answer. We should just transfer it down here. Now the next question that predicted that we need to prepare on is the question to do with cylinder, pressure, force and area. So in this case we are told the force that is exerted by the cylinder to the ground is 72 newtons, and the pressure on the ground is 1.4 newton per centimeter square. So what is the volume? First we need to work out the area of the base. Yeah, the area of the base. So we are going to use this information provided. Pressure is 1.4 and we have force 72. Then we are going to find A. So A is going to be 72 over 1.4 like that. And if we can put this in the calculator so that we can be able to get the answer, in that case we are going to say, let me just put it in the calculator so that we can be able to get it. Let me just put it in the calc so that we can be able to work it out. So we are going to say here that we have 72 divided by 1.4. So if we work it out, we are going to get our answer equivalent to 51.4. So we are going to say in that case that our answer is going to be 51.4 centimeter square. That's the area. That is the area of that cylinder. Then in order to work out the volume, we know volume formula is cross-section area times the height. So we have our cross-section area now, in that case is the base. So in case we want to find the volume of this cylinder here, if we want to find the volume of this cylinder, it would be the base of the cylinder, which we have gotten as 51, then we multiply by the height, cross-section area times the height, base times height for that case. And in that way we are going to work it out, and we shall get it as what? This is the formula we shall use in this case. This is the formula we shall be using in that case. And then we are going to say that working it out, we are going to get our answer equivalent to 51.4 times 12. Working it out, we are going to get our final answers 926 centimeter square as the volume of this particular cylinder. Guys, if you are joining us, please, if you have not subscribed to Proflan YouTube channel, subscribe so that whenever I'll be doing more tutorials, you'll be notified. This is a prediction of paper 3H, which we've been working, and I'll be doing lives until you do your exam on 11th. So if you are joining us, please consider writing the chat section where you are watching from, and if it's clear from this end. I really appreciate you guys for joining us, and I'll be doing more lives as far as paper 3H is concerned, and we shall even be going through past papers until you do your exams on 11th. So feel free to like the live and also to share it and subscribe to Profland YouTube channel. So after working out that, we've gotten our answer as 926 centimeter cubic as the volume of the cylinder. Now we need to move to the next part. I know this question here is iteration. Iteration was tested in paper 2, but I deemed it fine. We can also look at it. Maybe it can also be tested, but in case it do not be tested already, we saw it resurfacing in paper 2. So we are told the rabbits, the number of rabbits on a farm at the end of a month n is Pn. The number of rabbits at the end of the next month is given by this formula: Pn plus 1 is equals to 1.1 Pn minus 20. So at the end of April, there are 400 rabbits in the farm. So in the process of working out this, we are going to use that iteration formula, and in order to work it out, we are going to work out for the month of at the end of the month of April, May and June, so end of July. So we are going to say this is going to be 1.1 times 400, because Pn in that case was 400, and then minus 20. If you put that in the calculator, how do you put that in your calculator? Let me show you how you should be putting this information whenever you are doing this question in a calculator, so that you don't have to keep on inputting now and again. Let me just show you how you should be inserting this in your calculator. Now, remember, we have been told the initial is 400. So we are going to write 400 in our calculator like that, and then press the equal sign. All right. Once you have pressed the equal sign, I want you to write the formula now by saying 1.1 into bracket answer, because already our answer is 400, meaning every time you'll be inputting, it will be it will be inserting the previous answer that you have placed. So then we can say minus what? 20. Our answer that we had placed there was 400. So in order to get the next part, we are going to instruct our calculator 1.1 answer minus 400. So if we press equal sign, we are going to get 420. Okay, so because this 420 is going to be used in the next part, again, now we are going to, let me just show you the next part here. 3 is going to be for 1.1. we're going to say 1.1 into bracket, now it's 420 minus 20. So since we had done an input in our calculator, this answer now, when we are going to press again the calculator, is going to give us the next answer. This is going to be 442. So we are going to write here 442. So next we are going to say this is going to be 1.1 times 442 minus 20. So we are going again to input that in the calculator by just pressing the equal sign. So, and in decimals you press here so that you can be able to get your answer as 466.2, and in that case we can be able to say the month of July we shall be having that much, 466 rabbits, 466 rabbits in that case. So that's what we are going to get at that point, 466 rabbits in that month, right? Consider your result in part A suggests what will happen to the number of rabbits in the farm after a long period of time. So we need to we can see that in this iteration formula, the population of rabbits, it keeps on increasing with time. So which means that it will reach a point whereby the farm will not be able to sustain the number of rabbits that are there. So the farm will be overrun by the population of the rabbits that we can have. Question number 15 is a question to do with compound interest. And under compound interest, you can be given a question whereby the interest is based in a given period of time. So we are told that EV invests 3550 euro pounds in a savings account for 3 years. She was paid 2.6% per annum compound interest for the first 2 years, and then she was paid R% interest in the third year. Yeah, R% interest in the third year. So which will mean that we can now be able to work out this and work out and find the value of R in this particular question. Whereby we're going to say this is going to be compound interest. We're going to write the formula amount is equals to 1 into P into 1 plus R over 100 raised to power N, where P is the principal, the initial amount that was invested, 1 plus R. R is the rate at which that earned compound interest. So we are going to substitute what we have in this question in order to find the amount that she's going to get after 2 years. And then this is going to be 2.6 over 100 raised to power 2. And that is going to translate, that's going to translate to 37.0. So that is the pounds. And then because there was also a percentage, the amount was invested, or she was given an interest of R for another 1 year, we are going to use 37, yeah, as the initial amount in that particular case, so that we can be able to get the value of R as 2.2%. And the next question that we had already in the previous slide, we had already talked about the circle theorem. And in circle theorem, we were supposed to find angle C, that is here, angle C. But something that you ought to notice is that we were given 71, which is angle TDA. Because this angle TDA is in alternate segment with angle ABD, which is 71, then we're going to say also angle ADB is going to be 71, because those are base angles of an isosceles triangle. Then we can be able to find the missing angle of DAB, because that is a triangle. So we shall say 71 plus 71 minus, and we subtract that sum from 180, which is going to be 38. So if we are finding angle C, we can be able to use angle A, because opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral add up to 180. So we are going to have this angle as 180 minus 38, and that translates to 42. 42 becomes our answer in that case. The question of bearing, that one I cannot be able to do it on screen because of it requires some sort of construction. I've already ordered a document camera, which I'll be using in my videos, which will enable me to write on the document camera whenever I'm writing on the document camera, then you will be able to see as I'm writing. So this kind of question whereby we have bearing, I will be able to do them live here, and you'll be seeing me using the construction materials, using my set squares. You'll be seeing that. So once the document camera come, I'll be able to use them in order to do such kind of questions. And if you are new to Proflan YouTube channel, guys, and if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to support Proflan. And also you like the live, please comment if there is any question you may have in the other section here. Please like the live, and also if there is any question that you have, kindly let me know. Now moving to the next question, we are supposed to show that the area of trapezium QUVR, this trapezium, we are supposed to show that the area of this trapezium is 2x squared plus 20x. So the first thing that we need to identify is that from S to V is 3x plus 5. Then Q to U is going to be what? Q to U is going to be x plus 5, because it will be 3x plus 5 minus 2x, so that's going to be x plus 5. That is Q to U. And this part here is 5, the height is 4x, and then we are going to use the formula of a trapezium, a half h into a plus b. So that is the area of a trapezium, which will mean that we can be able to substitute into the formula so that we can be able to get our answer. And if you simplify whatever we have, because a and b are the two sides of the trapezium, the longer and the shorter sides, which are parallel. So we can see our shorter side here is x plus 5, and the other one here is b. So which means that we can be able to simplify this, and if we open the bracket, it will be 2x times x will be 2x squared, and then plus 2x times 10, this is going to be 20x. And that is basically what we are going to have in this case. So in this question, you are supposed just to show that the area of that shape is that. Guys, if you are new to Proflan, kindly like the live, and also if you have not subscribed, subscribe so that anytime I'm going to do more tutorials, you'll be notified. Okay, so moving to the next part. Moving to the next question, this is the answer. We shall be able to move down. Now, the next part is a question to do with how to solve linear equation, simultaneous equation, whereby one is linear and the other is a quadratic equation. Of course, we can be able to use the method of substitution. Method of substitution here, we are going to say that anywhere we have y, we shall be substituting 9 minus x, because we are told y is equal to 9 minus x. So we shall have to substitute that, working out minus 3xy. What is it going to be equivalent to? I get the answer, so that I'll just put it aside so that we avoid any confusion. Then we are going also to work out 2 into squaring x, y, that's going to be x, 9 minus x squared. That's going to translate to, we square that. So that will be 2 into 81 minus 18x, then plus x squared, which will mean that we shall have our answer as shown here. Then once we have gotten what this is going to reduce to, we are going to do what? We are going to now combine it into the expression and then put the like terms together so that we can have a quadratic equation. So we shall have 6x squared minus 63x, then plus, this is going to be plus 162 equals to 0. With that, we can now be able to solve that quadratic equation so that we can be able to solve that quadratic equation so that we can know what is the value of x and what is the value of y. So in that way, we are going to solve this quadratic in order to get the value of x. We can be able to use n method, you can use factorization, you can be able to use completing the square method, you can be able to use quadratic formula, depending which one you'll be comfortable with, and some questions will not be compatible with factorization. So in this case, I'll want us to divide all through by 3 first to reduce this equation to manageable level, and then now we can be able to apply the formula in order to work it out. So we can be able to apply the formula like that, substituting everything as it is. So it will be 2 times 2, which is going to be 4 in that case. So we shall have here 4, 2 times 2. And then if we simplify this particular equation that we have, we are going to have it as x is equals to 6 or x is equals to 4.5. Yeah, so that is the value of x. Then now we are going to, for each value of x, we are going to find the value of y. When x is equals to 6, we are going to find the value of y by saying 9 minus 6, and that is going to translate to 3. And also when x is equals to 4.5, we are going to substitute it and say 9 minus 4.5, and that's going to translate to 4.5. And if we can write this as a coordinate, this is going to be coordinates is going to be 6, 3 and 4.5, 4.5, because you were supposed to find the point, the coordinates of the points where this is going to do what? The lines are going to cut across. The next question is about 3D geometry, but this is 3D geometry, which is also testing the aspect of trigonometry. So in order to calculate the angle of TSC, we know that AB is 5 centimeters. We know that AT is 5 centimeters, so we have 5 centimeters there. Then if we square that to get the AC, AD is 5 and DC is 5. So which will mean that if we want to work out the diagonal AC, we are going to use Pythagoras theorem, and that's going to be 5 squared plus 5 squared, which is going to be actually root of 50, and then A to M, that is the midpoint, that is halfway, so which will mean that we can be able to have it as a half of root 50. Then we need to find the angle, because the angle we are asked is the angle TSC, and that is going to be equivalent to tan. We're going to say, using this triangle, we have this as the angle we are looking for. This is the length from A to M, and this is the height, which is 12, and this is the right angle triangle. So we are going to use SOHCAHTOA, and we shall do tan inverse of whatever we have here, which is going to translate to 73 point. Let me just work it out. Yeah, let me just put it in the, we can round off, and that is going to translate to 74 degrees. So that is the angle for that case. Now, compound shapes and compound shapes involving a solid made from a cone and a hemisphere, that is a cone and a sphere, and that hemisphere is having a radius of 20, right? And then we are supposed to work out the value of K, but we are told the curved surface area of the cone is 580 pi, yeah, and then the radius is 20. So meaning that the first thing that we're going to do is to work out, we need to work out the volume, and the volume of hemisphere is going to be a half of the sphere, which is going to translate what? Which is going to be V is equals to 2 over 3 pi r cubed, which is going to give us if you work it out, you have to leave it in exact form because you are supposed to find the value of K in exact form. So surface area of a cone is usually given by the formula pi r L, where this L is the slant height. So since we know the radius, we can be able to get the slant height using that surface area that was provided, the radius, and we find L here, whereby we're going to divide both sides by 20 pi, and it's going to translate to 29. So the slant height is going to be 29. Then in order to get the height, this is going to be square root of 29 squared minus 20 squared. We are using Pythagoras theorem because if you use the height of the cone and the radius, that becomes, and the slant height, it forms a right angle triangle, which we are going to use in that case. And let me just move this so that we can have enough space, and then we can be able to continue working it out. So that we have gotten the height, so we can be able to work out the volume of the cone, which is usually area volume is equals to a third base area times height. So the base is a circular, so we are going to say this is going to be a third pi r squared h. So we have the radius, which is 20, we have the slant height, which is 21. Then we can be able now to work out that by substituting correctly, we are going to get our answer equivalent to 2800 pi centimeter cubic. Then we can now be able to add the two, and the total volume will be the hemisphere plus the cone. If we add the two guys there, we are going to have what? Let me move this. We are going to have our answer here equivalent to 24,400 over 3 pi. So we can equate that to K. Our K is the constant term. Our K is the constant term in this case that we have here. So this now will mark the end of this part of live. We are going to be doing more of this paper. I'll be doing more live to complete this paper. You can see there are some questions left there that we are going to be doing. And I appreciate guys for those who have been with me because now I have to go for another class. I'll be forced to stop there so that next I'll be doing the last part of this particular prediction. See you guys. Have a great time wherever you are. And if you are new to Proflan YouTube channel, consider subscribing so that anytime I'm going to do more tutorials, you'll be notified. See you the next tutorial.